I'm slicking up the canvas. And all I've done is I get some big palette knives out. And I'm just having fun throwing white paint right out of the tube. And then slicking it up with mineral oil. Now if I want it to dry quick, I'll throw some liquid on here. But for demonstration purposes only. You know, even with the heat wave, this stuff will stay wet for days. If it's strictly mineral oil, that's why I like to play with it. So all you do is you put some white paint on some palette knives and you get your consistency. What I do is I have a little squirter here. It's just an oil can and I just throw some on there, squirt it on, and I get the consistency that I want. It's all slick. And it's fun because I take my palette knife and I get to play with the palette knife kind of like frosting on a cake. So you get your canvas slicked up. Because that's why it's so fast. Because you're working on a slick surface. That's why it's fun for beginners. But you have to get this on there, and it doesn't take a lot of mess with the palette knives. This is mostly a palette knife application in what I'm doing here because of the swiftness, the kinetics or the movement involved, very expressive, very quick. It can be very improvisational, meaning there are no mistakes. And these little bit of preparation, and you're cool. Okay, so we do that and we have our prep. Now what I want to do is I want to show you how to load. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this paint off of here. And I'm going to stick a glob on it on there, see? And then I'm going to bring it down like that. Can do it again. This is pretty wet too. There's a little bit of mineral oil on here. But anyway, if you get it out of the tube like they are on the palette here, and I'm going to put a glob on there, and then I'm going to bring my my knife down and pull a swatch down like that. Get rid of these. So I just want to swatch. Put another one here. So that's all I want to do. This is very important. That's how you load. So, and you can clean like this. You're done cleaning basically. You have a clean instrument. So what I want to do is I want to take a horizon line. I'm going to take a little bit of blue down here. And what I'm going to do with this blue here is I'm going to do just what I did with that white. I'm going to bring it down so that I have some space. Now this is the method to the madness of placing these colors like this. Let's say I wanted to do this, what is that, sap green. I can clean that off in a second, and I can go into my sap green the same way, and I'll pick up my sap green. You see this? I'll just pick it up and bring it down. And I have all that room to play with my color. That helped me in restoration because I had more room to play with, more of a map to figure out where am I going to go with all of this. So as I pull my colors down and spread them over the palette, I have this really nice spatial system going in my palette. It doesn't have to be this big. You don't need that many colors. You just need a few for just any kind of really nice painting that you want to play with. This is just an example You don't have to have this many. Have a light, a medium, and a dark green. Break them into 3 stops. Remember I talked about the stops. So I'm going to take a little bit of this on my knife, and I'm going to load a little line of it like that. Just that little line on the edge there. And I'm going to put it up here. Where's my horizon? It's going to be, well, let's see. I'm just going to maybe go right there. And there's my horizon line, see that? Now, I was able to do this because this canvas is really, really slick, but look at the precision. But you don't have to get that kind of precision. You can, but when you just take a knife like that and slide some paint on the edge and then slide, let's do a messy one, watch this. I'll pick some more up. I'll pick some, what is that? Oh, that's cobalt. This was phthalo. I take some cobalt. What's the difference? A little bit. You'll make a big deal out of it. So I put a line, and let's say I'm just starting out. Well, I go like this, you know, and I go like this, and then I go like this, and I go like that. Big deal. And then I mush. Can I mush? Now I'm pushing the heel of this brush. And because it's wet, look at that. Look at how soft and it expands. Now, if I push it up this way and just smush it around, you see that? Anybody can do this. You can push that knife off of that swatch of color you just threw down there. Now, this is precision. This takes some practice. But this down here is play. Now, you mush into the canvas. That's pressure. That's another binary power that's available to you in oil painting. There's pressures involved in other mediums, but in oil painting, it goes into so much fun because you can play with your viscosities. If you're in watercolor, your viscosity is basically water. But acrylics and other three-dimensionals, sketching too, you can press, but it just gets darker. I press on the eraser and it gets lighter. I have an electric one. All right, so now watch this. We're gonna push our horizon into the sky. I'm gonna take my knife and flatten it, and I'm just gonna push it right up like that. I'm gonna take my knife, I'm gonna lay it on there, and I'll push it right on through. Now I'm gonna take another color. Oh, let's take a red. We'll take a red offset. We'll take some crimson, and we'll put it right. Let's put it over here. Now I'm gonna line it up, and I'm gonna push on it, and I'm gonna take it right off. And I'll push on it, and now everything's just slicked up. And look at the effects that anybody can get. And I'm just gonna push on it. Oh, let's take some more. Now, clean? Oh no, I am. Done. Clean. Let's see, what goes good with crimson and blue? A little more crimson. There. I'm just going to push it in. Now, let's wiggle it around. See how you can wiggle it. And I can blend it off because it's so slick. And look at the edges just fade away. How it just fades away. That makes a cool noise too. I just do some flames.
I didn't plan any of this. I was going to do something else actually, but. So, they cleaned. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, this mopping, it's awful. Now, take a brighter red. Let's put a brighter red inside down here. And just blend it. Blend it off like that, see? And because you have so much viscosity. Now, this isn't really, really thick paint. It's syrupy and slick. But this shows you the power and the ease of what these paints can do when you're just mushing them around on a wet field like this. This is particle and wave also. And you have to prepare your field, your playing field. If you want to play, got to have a nice field to play on. So we're just playing around with colors and mushing some colors around. So let's try a little green in there and just green it out or bring it down. How about we bring it down? Now what I wanted to do was demonstrate a line of trees. So I have green. I'll line up green down there. Let's do a line of trees. And watch this. So we do a line of trees. So you line up the green. I have some blue down there. Now, if I just wanted to do this, I bring my green up. Just push it in, release. Push and release. And I'm going to take one of these magic wands and make some trees. Now watch this. You ready? Make sure you can see this. Okay. Right? All right. Watch that. It looks like kind of an electroencephalograph. But what you can do with these sticks when this is slick like that is you can make landscapes in a heartbeat, just like that. And just do a line of trees. That's because it's slick. Now, if I wanted to smooth that out, I'd take my original knife here, and I just block it all in, smooth it all out, get some smooth edges. And I have several points. And there's my tree line. And I can change it. I can make big trees. Now let's take some more color. Oh, taking all that time to clean. Okay, now I got some sienna. Some raw sienna. Let's just stick it on top and do the same thing in mush. And you can see, let's get some yellow. And just put it on top. Just put it on top. And bring it up. You can take your sticks and you can pick up globs like that. You can pick them up and put them back down. Yeah. Pick them up and put them back down. Anybody can do those. And you can just, because it's transparent. And another issue that I have is removing paint also at the same time. You can remove it at the same time. See this? So I can have a reverse effect by carving out. We're going to do that on mirrors coming up. I have some really fascinating techniques. And those are, a lot of those are store-bought instruments that I use on mirrors. But these I discovered just by using what? Oh, pencils, actually. But then I would make little crazy sticks like this too, so. And it makes a really cool noise, see that? Now, so now all of a sudden I've brought some elements. It looks like organic material. Ready? Look at this. Now, when you slide colors together like this, look what happens. Because everything's so slick. Right? So I just went from having a tree line to having some, bushes in my face here. And tomorrow, this will probably be still slick. And who knows, I'll do something else. That's what's cool about this technique. Now listen, this is very important. This is part of your power. This is part of your freedom. Because it doesn't matter. You can practice with your oil paints without stocking up and going through all these canvases. I do that with voice recordings sometimes. I'll just do them in practice and then I'll erase them. But you can do that with oil paintings too, with this mineral oil. It'll stay on there forever. Hey, well, maybe tomorrow I'll do something else with it. Like, I want to make a seascape down here. Let's see. Well, I want to do some water. So, let's do some water while we're at it. Yeah. So you're actually sketching as you're painting. It's slick. You have pressure, just like you're drawing. You have your paint all over the place, and you can see where you're going. It's a good idea to see where you're going when you're painting. Well, even like I had mentioned before, even if you're just goofing around, it's more fun to know what you're doing. Jackson Pollock is up on a ladder out there on Southampton. And he's got buckets of paint that he's throwing out. He probably knew what he was doing. Doesn't seem like it, but that guy was having fun. Until he rolled that little MG into that stump that jumped out at him. Okay. But he's a pioneer. He was a pioneer, and so is de Kooning, because they didn't care that much. It wasn't artwork to them, it was art fun. That's what I discovered with this. And when I discovered these mediums and these implements, and I'm doing this kind of business, and I can do all sorts of crazy things, and then start all over. Now I'll have a nice mid-tone. If I took one of my palette knives, one of my big palette knives, and I just remushed all of this, and I could just mix it all up, and there'd be a tone there. It'd be a mid-tone probably. See, the mineral oil is dripping. I was actually going to do some clouds. Maybe we'll do that in the next segment. Where am I? Oh, geez, I got to get out of here. So that is your toys. These are your toys. They aren't your tools. These are your toys. And this mineral oil and these applications and playing like this frees you up to play. That's all. And all I'm here to do is to show you how to get started. And the rest of it is quite obvious. I mean, this is your world. Particle wave. E equals MC. I'm not scared of paint throwing it around.